Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have something really exciting for you. We are diving into how you can supercharge your Excel skills with ChatGPT. By the end of this video, you will figure out how you can be building custom emails for every client in your newsletter, building advanced marketing strategies, SMM plans at any topic at any time under just a few minutes. So we are going to start with connecting GDP for Excel. Then we will explore some basic functions you can do with it. And finally, I will show you how you can build advanced marketing strategies in no time. Let's start with connecting GDP to Excel. So here is our Excel file. And in order to connect GDP for Excel to our Excel, we need to go to Home tab, and then we need to click Add-ins. Once we are here, we can click More Add-ins. And then we search GPT for Excel. Here you will find plenty of different add-ins, but I suggest using GDP for Excel Word. Once you press that, you will have a button to add it to your Excel interface. So you click Add, you click Continue, and then finally you have it in your Excel. This is how it's going to look. It will pop up under the home page and it will have gdpforwork.com kind of sheet. Here you will see a simple interface for this add-in, which contains of two things. One is GPT functions, and here you will be able to see how many functions you have, whether there are any active functions, or you would want to eliminate the functions by pasting them as values. Here on the bulk tools, you can see other different settings, and you can even try some built-in functions. So you will not need to write this function with a formula, but you can use inbuilt interface for that. One of the most important thing is whenever you go here on the top, you will see no API key needed. When you download an add-in and install it to Excel, you will be given free credits to try the add-in yourself. But if you want to use it later for more, you will need to add some credits. So I have currently $16.88 remaining. And here I'm using my API key. And the reason for that, because it's much cheaper to use my own API key and pay to OpenAI for the usage of the model, instead of using built-in functions that are provided by this plugin. What is more important, they have new model added that was released just last week, GDP-4 Mini. This model tends to be smarter than GDP 3.5 Turbo, but it also much cheaper than 4.0 or even 3.5 Turbo. So I suggest using this model. Here, if you press the lines icon here, you can see some other settings. You will see billing, API keys, where you will need to paste in your API key from OpenAI. And I've done it once, but I'll show it again. So in order to paste your OpenAI key, we need to go to playground.openai.com. We need to log in. So I log in with my Gmail account. So once we're in, we go to API keys, and here you will see all the API keys you have, and you press create new secret key. You give it a name, test key, and then you create secret key. Once you have that, you will need to paste in this key, OpenAI key here. And once it's done, you will be able to use your own API key for GPT for Excel add-in. So once we have the API key, we can use our add-in. It provides us with plenty of different functions. And if we go to GPT functions and list of GPT functions, we can see all the newly added functions that we can use. And let's try to look at a few examples. So let's start with the simple GPT formula. We go with equal sign GPT, open bracket, and then we have two settings that we need to add here. One is prompt, another is value, and the last one is temperature. So prompt is essentially what we wanted to ask. And if you think about it, it's just the same as you were in ChatGPT interface here. You would be prompting it in just Excel. There is no much difference at the moment as we would try, but just to get the idea, let's try something very simple. One important thing, you need to type it in parentheses. So let's ask it, give me a promo for a video GPT for Excel in 5 sentences. For this particular purpose, we don't have value and we can avoid setting temperature. It will be just by default. You can control it from, I think it's from 0 to 1 or from 0 to 2. I usually go with something like 0.3, but this is totally optional. We can even omit it for the sake of example. So there is a new error that is going to be showing. It's called #busy, made just for this particular plugin. You will not see it anywhere else. So let's see what it created. Unlock the power of data with Video GPT for Excel. Transform your spreadsheets. Very basic, nothing specific. The prompt was very simple. So again, this would give us the same output as we were prompting it to ChatGPT interface. So let's look at some other functions. For example, translate with GPT. So this is very convenient, especially when you need to quickly grasp an idea or you got a report in other language and you want to quickly translate some key things from that report, but you don't want to go to Google Translate all the time, or you don't want to translate the whole document because the formatting is going to be broken. So you can quickly use the simple function, and it is GPT translate. Consists of the target text that we want to translate. So in this case, I will select the column B, basically where the text is written. Then I go with target language, and the target language I want to translate it to is English, and I want to translate from Latvian, right? So I go with Latvian, and then we need to provide some instructions. And here are simple instructions: translate this from Latvian to English. And again, temperature, it's up to you. We can go with something 0.5. We press enter and we wait until it does the calculations. And so here we can see, hello, how are you? I love to travel and meet new people. It is a very beautiful day. And those translations are valid, and you can quickly get sentences in other language if you need. So the next one is GPT classify. And another example of it is where you get your monthly expense report from your bank statement, and you would want to classify the transactions so that you can make a report how much you have paid per month for rent, for food, for restaurant, or anything else. Otherwise, you would need to classify each transaction yourself. But if you have GPT, you can teach it to do this, and it can classify it for you. So let's try to do this. In order to do this, we will actually need another column. So this column is called examples. We need to teach it how to classify it, and we need to give it a few examples of how to do it. So I would go with, I have paid for Apple.com, so I would call this as services. Narvis and Baltia, I would usually go for coffee. Maxima, those are local retail shop with groceries. This is another grocery shop. This is parking. This is restaurant. So I gave it a few examples so that it understands how I wanted to classify things, and then I can go and try to do the formula. So the formula is called GPT classify, and basically what it contains is the value. In my case, the value is here. Then we have to give it categories, and I need to write the categories separated by comma. In my case, this would be services, coffee, groceries, parking, and restaurant. Then we need to give examples. And in my case, we give these examples. The important thing is that we need to have two columns here. So one column is going to be input text. The other column is desired output. And last but not least is temperature. And I'm going to omit that because I don't really care right now. So now it has classified all the transactions. If it is associated with cafeteria, it will call it coffee. If it's associated with grocery store called Lidl, which is very popular in Europe, then it will classify as groceries. If it's a pharmacy, it has called it services because we haven't provided any legit example here. So once this is done, what we can do, we can create a monthly report from that. And here we would need just a few simple functions. First, I will use the function unique just to get all the unique categories. And then I will use the function SUMIF. And this is the function that is used for summing all the lines that are related to a specific category. In my case, it will be services, coffee, and any other. So we go with criteria range, and then we need to choose a specific criteria. And let's calculate the total to make sure we haven't missed anything important here. So it's 215 in total. Right, let's move on. And the next one is GPT table, which is very, very nice function in my opinion. And I will show you how can you do a few things with it. Let's go with GPT table. And first we need to create a weekly calendar by hour for the following week, for example. So we need to give it a prompt. Create a table with each column header being a date starting from, let's do 27, 24. And I will specify what is the format because I don't want it to mistakenly put the months or days and switch them as places. So I'll specify the format. I probably write it here, formatted as, and each row header being an hour, 24 hours in total. So that will be my prompt. We don't really have pads here and inputs, so we can skip that. We don't really care. So all right, it has created a table, but essentially it has mistaken because it didn't create it for 24 hours. For some reason, it created it just for 13 hours. It has generated it for every day, but for 1 month. And I wanted it for 1 week, I guess. I create table with column starting from for 1 week. Let's do. Let's give it an example. So that way I can quickly create a calendar. That is done. And once we actually created it, I suggest we paste it as values because every time you're going to enter any other formula, it's going to recalculate that. And basically we would need to do the same here as well. So the next is, let's do generate dates for 1 month, GPT table. Let me just do it like this. And let me go with generate dates for 1 month in the given format in 1 row. Let's do it. So now it should generate it like this. So we have it for 1 month since the 1st of January. So if we were to use and work with it and we would be willing to do some calculations, this would give us a value just because it doesn't understand the format. Now the format, it understands it as text. And if we change it to date, for example, it still doesn't understand it because my system format is with a dash and here we have a dot. So the cool part about this function is that you can also play with these formats, and this usually happens when you export data from any other source, being a database or some third-party data or whatever other system you have. When you export data, you usually receive it in a weird format and you need to adjust the date format. So GPT can also do that for you. And you would just go with GPT format the date as, and we will go with this. Let's just leave it. What is important here, I forgot to select the value. So now it will take that and it will redo the format, and we generated basically for every value. That's just one way of doing that. So for every single cell, we have calculated the value. And let's try it to understand as a date. And let's try to add 1. So now it understands it as a date. So we can do some functions like month, date, week, etc. We can play with those formats. So the really cool thing is that you can adjust the date format with this simple function, and you don't need to do some substitutions with, with the text functions in Excel. Let's move on. And now we're getting to an interesting part. We will be creating custom emails for our clients based on the data that is available for us. For example, you can have a CRM where you have some data about your customers, the last connection, the age, demographics, interests, maybe you have, you have the order value of your customers or anything like that. Given this data, you may customize your messages to every customer whenever you send a newsletter. In the past, we were sending a newsletter customizing just a few fields. For example, the first name, we were customizing a few items we wanted to put in the text, but the text was general for everyone. Now there is an ability to write a specific text for every single customer based on their specific data. So let's try to do that. And for this function, I will use GPT, a simple GPT formula. And for the prompt, I will use this prompt that I pre-created before just to save some time. So let's read it fast. You're a professional salesman with 20 years of experience. Your job is to approach new potential leads with cold email approach. You need to draft catchy emails with good open rates for clients, and you're offering consulting services and marketing, whereas competitive advantage is utilizing the capabilities of AI in the market. Note that you need to generate only body text, not subject lines, metadata, or anything else. And every email with my name and role. Make emails as personalized as possible based on the customer age and data that is provided. Based on the customer age, identify customer's generation and adjust the language accordingly. You are given the following data and etc. What is really interesting, if I take this prompt and I enter it to GPT and then I go with the value, and the value will be all those data fields, I would receive a mistake. And the mistake is because my formula is going to be longer than 255 characters, and I can't do that. So in order to avoid this, I will be using it as a reference, and I will be using a reference to a single cell, and that way I'm going to avoid that limit of 255 characters. And here I will be using those values. So let's see what it generates. All right, so the problem here, I need to freeze my cell because whenever it goes down, it will be referencing an empty cell. So now it works. And let's see what we got. So first of all, we got custom name that we would get anywhere else like MailChimp that we would customize with first name tag or anything like this. So this is good enough. Let's see what it reads. And I will paste it as values. And let's try to read what we have here. Those are not long text. Hi, Mark. I hope this message finds you well. As young professional healthcare field, well, actually, the profession is in healthcare, and he's 19 years old. So young professional in the healthcare field is already custom. You're likely aware of the rapid changes technology is bringing to your industry. At our company, we specialize harnessing the power of AI-enhanced marketing strategies. Imagine leveraging AI-driven insights to connect with your audience more effectively, streamline marketing efforts, and ultimately drive better results. I'd love to discuss how we can elevate your marketing and make lasting impact in your career. Biggest customization is the first line, because it took the age of the recipient, it took the profession of the recipient and customized this first line. As for the language, I think it didn't really customize it much, but we may play with the prompting a little bit. So this was really quick prompt. When you would be working with real life cases, you would probably want to harness the prompt as hard as possible. But the real idea is that you can send custom emails to every customer in your newsletter. You don't need anymore to send generalized emails. Those could be very specific and targeted to each and every individual. So let's move on. And the next one is marketing analysis. So what we see here right now is basically business type. In my case, it's going to be a retail and online business that sells protein bars. And here we have split basically different parts of marketing analysis. So let's look at it. Describe the social demographic characteristic for the segment of potential buyers. List of key GTBD. So those are jobs to be done. And this is the term in marketing. Whenever you mention a term in a specific field to your GPT, it starts to think around that term. So it would understand that when you say GTBD, it means marketing field, and it will start to think in terms of like marketing, not in terms of like engineering or any other background. So this is also very important to give it the right context. Describe the needs of the customers. describe the key fears of the customers, present a list of pains, propose several effective, unique selling propositions for your customers, suggest common objections. You can also tell it to work with those objections and suggest him how you get away from them or how you can overcome the customer objections. Describe the social status and professions, etc. So let's try to do this. And first, in order to do this, there is another prompt that I wanted to do. Conduct segmentation of potential customers, identify and briefly describe the main target segments, one type in a row. So I'll go with GPT list function, right? And this will provide me a list of values. I will use this prompt and nothing else. So I want it to provide one value in one row and identify customer segments. So first, I actually forgot something. So I needed a value here. And in my case, value would be this business, because now it will create the customer segments for any other business. I want it to be tailored to my business. So let's try again, but give it as a value our retail and online business that sells protein bars. So health enthusiasts, athletes and fitness buffs, busy professionals, weight management seekers, vegans and vegetarians, outdoor adventures, parents and families, seniors, diet-specific consumers, etc. There are many categories, and those are all legit categories you can think about in your business. So here, I wanted to give a prompt, and this will be my prompt. And as a value, I only need to freeze the 7 here, because once I will be dragging the formula to the right, I want it to, and to the bottom, I want it to stay on the 7th line. And the value would be the customer segment. And in my case, I want to freeze letter B, because I will be dragging it to the right so that it sticks to health enthusiast. And it will create the customer segmentation and full analysis of this customer segment in marketing terms for every single segment. So let's try it. So we will just drag it here, and then we will just go and drag it here. All right, so we choose all our segments. And what happens here? This is a lot of text, but there is a lot of value as well. So if you're thinking about your business strategy and whom you need to approach, think about health enthusiasts, for example. Social demographic characteristics for the segment. Age from 18 to 45, and those will be health enthusiasts. Gender, both males, females. Income level, middle to upper. Willing to spend more on premium, education, etc. Let's see what it generated. So list of the jobs to be done for the potential customer segment. Maintain a balanced diet, convenient healthy snacking, high nutritional value, natural ingredients, etc., etc. Let's take a look at customer objections, ingredient concerns. Are the ingredients organic and non-GMO? Does this product contain any artificial additives or preservatives? Nutrition value, how much sugar is in this snack? So you can already start working with those objections if you have any. If you see that the customers might potentially be coming with those objections, how to work with them, right? How to overcome. Whenever you do paid marketing or social media posting, those are the things you would need to address, because customers, whoever want to be buying your products, they want to make sure those questions are covered. All right, so this is very first example, and you can see how much of a value is here. Basically, for each customer segment, you have created a full market analysis. Here, we had quite simple prompts. You can play with those prompts, make them a little bit more advanced for your specific business, for your specific customer segment. This is just for the sake of example. Here's another example, the social media marketing. So let's take the same business, but we will be planning some posts. So we will have a SEO structure for a blog. We need the list of keywords, text for an article using LSI approach, latent semantic indexing, write engaging posts for publication on Instagram, Telegram, script for expert video on TikTok. So for example, we want GPT to give a specific idea, and then we wanted to generate content for each social media platform for us. In this case would be our website, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. So let's do that. And we'll be using the same formula here. We will go with GPT list because we want to have a list of 5 interesting, captivating topics based on the value, and the value in my case would be my business niche. So let's do that. So it has generated, for example, the science behind protein bars, how they fuel your body and mind. This sounds interesting. From kitchen to shelf, the journey of crafting the perfect protein bar, unusual ways to incorporate protein bars into your daily meals. Those all sound like interesting ideas. If you are in that field, if you are health conscious and think about it, this might be interesting to read. So let's ask it to write more detailed content on this one. So we need to freeze the letter, and here we need to freeze the. So let's do it like this. So now the content is generated. Let me paste it as values. And let's see what we have. SEO structure for a blog. So what it has, here's the title, the science behind the bars, meta description, headings, subheadings, keywords, internal links, external links, image and alt text, call to action, list of keywords, text for an article. Here you can read the article. Engaging post for LinkedIn. It added some emojis. Interactive post for Telegram. And then there is also a script for TikTok video. So that's it. So you don't need a social media marketing expert anymore, because you can have those specific things decomposed to smaller parts and ask GPT in Excel to do it for every single task. You don't need anymore to sit long nights and days writing the content, separating, keywords, analyzing SEO, etc. This all can be done in Excel in just a few clicks. And here is a little bit more motivation. We have taken a look at the few examples from marketing. But what we can do is, if you take your niche, in my case, I just took marketing, you would want to split the field into as much details as possible. In my case, I was able to split it to kind of 64 different parts. So let's take a look. From marketing activity perspective, you can have branding, marketing research, segmentation, positioning, product strategy, pricing, planning and development, distribution strategy, relationship management, product promotion, marketing through PR, events, etc. So there are really tons of things you can do. And then what you do is you decompose that field of your marketing niche or your industry niche to smaller parts. For example, branding can be market and target audience research and analysis, brand strategy development, creation of name and logo, development of corporate identity. And you would go to a separate sheet like I did with SMM or analysis. You would split those by columns, and you would create, 5 different brand names, and it will create for 5 different brand names all the content. So it will do the research and analysis, it will do the brand strategy, it will create a name and logo for each idea. That way you can do really tons of things in really limited time. And this goes to, to any marketing job. Basically, take a look at what needs to be done, decompose it so that, you don't ask a model to do, whole marketing in one prompt. Decompose it to a little thing so that, to be more specific, because it will perform better rather than it would give, a general, let me write me a marketing strategy. You would want it to write, your keywords for specific block on a given topic where you provided the detailed instructions. That way it will perform much, much better than instead of like writing a marketing strategy or something like that. So yeah, there are more examples, but I think this video would be crazy long. So I'll probably stop here and summarize what we just covered. So in today's video, we were able to explore how to integrate GPT for Excel, how to install it, and how to use it in Excel. We have explored some basic functions, and finally, we figured out how we can do really comprehensive and important business things like marketing strategy creation, social media posting, content repurposing for different platforms in just no time. Just take the field, decompose it to smaller parts, and give it a prompt to GPT to do a single analysis on each and every step in your task. If you like this video, click the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you, and see you in the future.